Hello, everyone. Welcome to Language Access Academy. If you're watching this, you're likely either embarking on the incredible journey of becoming a medical interpreter or considering joining our vital profession. And if so, you've come to the right place, because today we're diving into the very heart of what it means to be a medical interpreter: ethics. My goal today is to inspire you with the profound importance of ethics in our field and to provide you with a solid foundation based on the National Code of Ethics for Interpreters in Healthcare, developed by the National Council on Interpreting in Healthcare. This code isn't just a set of rules. It's a guide for navigating the complex and deeply human interactions that lie at the core of medical interpreting. Think about it. As medical interpreters, we stand at a unique crossroads. We are the linguistic bridge between patients and healthcare providers who speak different languages. In that space, lives can be profoundly affected by the accuracy, the neutrality, and the respect with which we conduct ourselves. As one anonymous respondent to the Code of Ethics survey so eloquently put it, the role of interpreter is a tightrope balancing act. A code of ethics is a good guide for the bar carried on such a walk on the tightrope. It offers balance, some security, and especially is a comfortable way to face the unknown risks faced on the interpreter's path. So, why is ethics so crucial for us? Because as interpreters, we wield a significant amount of power. We are often the only ones in the room who fully understand what both the patient and the provider are saying. Both parties must be able to trust that we will transmit their messages faithfully without injecting our own biases or opinions. Our adherence to a code of ethics reassures patients and providers that we can be trusted to keep the patient's best interests and the goals of the healthcare encounter at the forefront. The National Code of Ethics is built upon three core values that should infuse everything we do. Beneficence. This fundamental value emphasizes the health and well-being of the patient as our central obligation, a value we share with all healthcare professions. Our work should ultimately support good health outcomes. Fidelity. This speaks to the very essence of our role. Fidelity means faithfulness to the original message. We are entrusted to convert utterances from one language to another without adding, omitting, or distorting anything. Respect for the importance of culture and cultural differences. Culture shapes how we understand health, illness, and treatment. As interpreters, we must be aware that language and culture are deeply intertwined. Our role involves understanding not just the words, but the underlying, culturally based meanings. These core values lay the groundwork for the 9 P principles outlined in the National Code of Ethics. Let's explore some of these. Confidentiality. This principle mandates that we treat all information learned in the performance of our duties as confidential within the treating team. Just like other healthcare professionals, we are obligated to protect the patient's privacy. This includes understanding who is part of the treating team within a healthcare facility. While cultural norms might suggest that family members are privy to information, the decision to share still rests with the patient. We must navigate these situations with sensitivity, always prioritizing the patient's autonomy. In rare situations where a patient's well-being or the safety of others is at serious risk, we may need to carefully weigh confidentiality against beneficence, always encouraging the patient to disclose information themselves first. Accuracy. The interpreter strives to render the message accurately, conveying the content and spirit of the original message, taking into consideration its cultural context. This means we must transmit everything that is said without censoring, omitting, adding, or distorting. This includes not shying away from difficult, graphic, or emotionally charged content. Even seemingly offensive language can be a crucial piece of information for the provider. Furthermore, accuracy extends beyond just the words. We must be mindful of gestures, body language, and tone of voice when possible. If we make an error, we have an ethical obligation to admit and correct it. Impartiality. We must strive to maintain impartiality and refrain from counseling, advising, or projecting personal biases or beliefs. Our role is to facilitate communication, not to become a primary participant in the encounter. We are not there to take sides, persuade, or inject our own opinions. While empathy is a natural human response, we must be careful not to overstep our role as communication facilitators. Professional boundaries. The interpreter maintains the boundaries of the professional role, refraining from personal involvement. This ensures transparency and avoids potential conflicts of interest. We should only fulfill the duties of a healthcare interpreter and avoid assuming other roles, even if we are qualified in them, unless there is a clear understanding by all parties. Avoiding personal relationships with patients is crucial to prevent exploitation of their vulnerability and to minimize conflicts of interest. While building rapport is part of our professional role, we must be mindful of where the professional line is drawn, especially within close-knit communities. Cultural awareness. We must continually strive to develop awareness of our own and other, including biomedical, cultures encountered in the performance of our professional duties. Understanding our own cultural biases helps us to focus on the meaning of the messages being conveyed. While we can't know everything about every culture, we must possess enough understanding to facilitate communication across cultural differences and minimize misunderstandings based on assumptions or stereotypes. We should be prepared to help bridge cultural gaps with the explicit consent of all parties involved. Cultural competence is a shared value, but interpreters are often the ones with the most direct insight into cultural factors affecting communication. Respect. The interpreter treats all parties with respect. This means treating everyone in the encounter with dignity and courtesy, respecting their rights and duties, including our own. We must respect the autonomy and expertise that each party brings to the interaction. Advocacy. When the patient's health, well-being, or dignity is at risk, the interpreter may be justified in acting as an advocate. However, advocacy, defined as action beyond facilitating communication to support good health outcomes, must be undertaken only after careful analysis and when less intrusive actions have failed. This remains a controversial topic, as it can appear to contradict impartiality. However, when we witness clear injustices or ethically inappropriate behavior that could seriously harm a patient, we may have an ethical obligation to bear witness and bring the issue to the appropriate parties. Advocacy should never be taken lightly. We should seek advice from supervisors or ethics divisions when time permits. Continuing education. The interpreter strives to continually further her knowledge and skills. Accurate interpreting relies on a strong foundation of knowledge in medical terminology, procedures, and the sociocultural contexts of the communities we serve. We are also responsible for continuously improving our language and interpretation skills. This is an ongoing professional obligation. Professional and ethical manner. The interpreter must at all times act in a professional and ethical manner. This encompasses performing our duties competently, monitoring our performance, conducting ourselves with dignity, respecting other professionals, and avoiding discrimination. It also means not using the information we gain for personal advantage or exploiting the vulnerability of patients. Even something like accepting gifts from patients requires careful consideration of institutional policies and whether the gift is intended to influence our service. As you can see, the ethical landscape of medical interpreting is rich and sometimes complex. You will undoubtedly encounter situations where these principles may seem to conflict. The code doesn't provide definitive answers to every dilemma, but it offers a framework for making sound judgments. It provides the ideals and values they need to consider in making those choices so that the purpose of their profession is furthered and its integrity maintained. Embarking on a career in medical interpreting is a deeply rewarding path. You will be the voice for those who might otherwise struggle to be heard in critical healthcare settings. By embracing these ethical principles, you will not only uphold the integrity of our profession, but, more importantly, you will contribute to equitable and high-quality healthcare for all. Remember, ethics is not just a theory. It's the practical foundation of our daily work and the cornerstone of trust we build with patients and providers. Keep learning, keep reflecting, and never underestimate the power of ethical practice in medical interpreting. If you like this video, please share and subscribe to Language Access Academy for more. Thank you.